Yeah. 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 So many lies that you hear from the net, they don't get her respect. She reporting the truth, not a check. You want an unbiased opinion straight from the chest, not a bit accomplice or someone here for a check. Tune in, these are thoughts from a lawyer on a mission who goes so hard it's like she works on commission. Trolls in the comments might say she tripping cause they lack the knowledge. They don't know they missing. Got a couple current events that you like. Wanna know about law from the eyes. Tired of all these blogs running lies because their agendas are disguised. Tune in to the intellect, cause I'm sure y'all missing all the facts of the case that she steady is gifting. Someone here for the people, man, it's so uplifting. If you ain't subscribed yet, then you just omitting facts.
Hello, everyone. It is Pam Esquire, also known as your Law Intellect. Hope you guys are having a fantastic Friday. You guys know what we're here for. We have been covering the Sean Diddy Combs trial. There was a mishap, I guess, on Wednesday, of which the juror had vertigo, called the court, and couldn't come. So they had to adjourn it for the day. And then yesterday, of course, was Juneteenth. Shout out to everybody that was celebrating on yesterday. And so today they started out with Brendan Paul, who they kept calling him the drug mule, but apparently he was an assistant who, like many of these other assistants, were allegedly getting, well, I guess they've testified now, getting drugs for Diddy and his habit. Now, I'm going to get right into it because, guys, make sure you hit the like button so everybody know that we're on. Hit the subscribe button because this internet is not interneting today. I'm using my hotspot, on my phone. And I don't know how long we're going to have this. So without further ado, make sure you guys, again, hit the like button so folk know that we exist, So court was in session today. This is day 27. And sound like a few jurors was taking their time. They were out celebrating Juneteenth, so they took a while to trickle on in. See how they call him the drug mule, Brendan Paul. So, okay, but when you get into it, you'll see, like, was he really a drug mule or he just was doing what everybody else was doing as the assistant? So the jury comes in and the AUSA is like, Your Honor, may I place the binder of documents on the witness stand? The judge is like, yes, all rise. Jurors enter in. I got to make you guys feel like you're there. So they usually come in with their little notepads, and it's like quiet. It's usually quiet as a mouse, and they come marching in like, we are soldiers. They come marching in, they go sit down because they the important people. Then when you're sitting at the table, oftentimes the attorneys look at them, you want to acknowledge them because we know that they're important. Their decision is all that's important. We can talk as much as we want to on this here internet, but when it comes down to it, it's all about what the jurors believe, okay? So then the judge says, the government, you may call your next witness, and then the government, first, Ms. Garagos, and I will introduce some exhibits. So they all introduced some exhibits that are under seal, except one. The judge said, so admitted. The government calls Brendan Paul. So the government says, do you recognize this person? And I guess it's a photo of someone in a tuxedo. And Paul says, Sean Combs. I worked for him until I was arrested in a Florida airport for possession of cocaine in my personal assistant bag. He probably didn't just rattle it off like that because, this is shorthand basically on Twitter. But he's basically letting them know I was his assistant until that fateful day that we saw when they decided to raid Diddy's private jet, and Brendan Paul was on that jet, and then they showed his picture, and then everybody was looking like a drug mule, like he really out here slinging like that. And then we found out he was some promising basketball player and super smart and all that stuff. But apparently, I don't know if they told us he was actually a personal assistant. I did know they were calling him a drug mule. That's all I knew. I thought he was out here just on those streets, and that was the job. So then he says, why was it there? Paul said, I was sweeping Mr. Combs' room. How did you come to work for Mr. Combs? Paul says, through revolt, Ellie Moron. He told me, get in to get out. If you have a girlfriend, break up with her. You'll never see her. So basically, get in with an exit plan. Get what you can get from Diddy, because you did have a lot of people who said that Diddy was a great business person. He taught them a lot. Most people didn't take it away from him, even if they had bad experiences, like Capricorn Clark alleges. They say he's brilliant. He's great when he's in his working, his work vibe. And so they've learned a lot from him. He's a hard worker. So that may be what the rumor is. And so they're like, yeah, get in, but get out. Like, don't make this no long-term situation. You need to get in, get out. So then the government said, well, did you interview? Paul said late in October 2022 at 200 South Mapleton Drive. How were you greeted there? My ID was scanned and I had to sign an NDA. Frankie Santella and Christina Coram was there. KK. Now that's not uncommon. I think that they threw in the NDA as if he's trying to conceal or cover up, I guess, whatever his activities are. But most celebrities have you sign NDAs, and some that are not even, quote, on that level. They might just be a public figure of some sort. They make you sign NDAs as well, especially when you have, some type of presence. So that's not necessarily uncommon. The government said, did they hire you? He said, yes. I know you probably want to say, duh, you see me on TV getting arrested. Yes, I would pack a lot of joints in the garage, marijuana. So I'm assuming because he put that on there, that there was some questions in between, because I can't see them just asking, did they hire you? You say, yeah. And then you respond like, yeah, I packed a lot of joints, in the bag. I packed it in the garage. It was marijuana. So I'm sure there was some question perhaps before that. When did you meet Mr. Combs? He says, KK came to the garage and told me to come to a listening party in the backyard and take notes. What was KK's role? Chief of staff? Helped out with the family? Did KK use Mr. Combs' phone? Yes. So they're establishing, of course, there were some text messages of which I guess they're saying that KK was the one that was on the phone. Yes, they do. Most of them make you sign NDAs. Let's get on. She helped with the family, and then she used his phone. How many assistants did Mr. Combs have? At first 5, then 4, then 2. Given my college basketball background, I helped with Mr. Combs' workouts. He sure work out a lot. Who is this? Jonathan Perez. And this? Butler Frank Rodriguez. What did Mr. Combs' butler do? Check this out. This is what he did. He stood next to Puff, giving him water, chapstick, whatever he needed. So he just standing next to him and he's like, chapstick, water. And actually, we've seen movies with celebrities. Now, they usually make it into the movies like The Devil Wears Prada or something. But this is, when people have money, this is the type of things that they pay for. And you have Bentley, Farnsworth Bentley, who everybody's been looking for. He was hired to hold an umbrella. Okay. But he was considered one of the assistants as well. TJ said, yeah, listen, his lips was chapped. TJ, you can't have no chapped lips. He cannot talk to people if his throat is parched. Like, come on. Ty said, I'd imagine it's because being a functional addict made it hard to keep track of things. Well, honestly, some people are not addicts and they're the same way. They have a really busy, tight schedule. And because of that, they have an assistant. So you said you mean he can't have a chapstick in his person? No, he can pay you to have chapstick on your person. Hey, Power Dynamic for Life, good to see you. Star Bell, you didn't know? Huh? Hit the like, because I ain't been on nothing but 10 minutes, so I know people trickling in, but I had to get through this because my internet is interneting. So he gave him water and chat, whatever he needed. The government said, "Did you have group chats with KK?" Yes. Turn to the binder and flip through it. So they have group chats, and he's basically able to give the foundation for these group chats on who would have been talking and all of that because he was a part of it. The government said, "Who is this?" Brendan Paul said, "Fahim. We call him Fa, F-A-H. What was your salary?" "I started at 75K a year and then 100K. I got paid bi-weekly by Combs Enterprise." "And where did you live?" "In an Airbnb in LA and Miami." That sounds really expensive to live in an Airbnb in LA and Miami. "Where did KK stay?" "In LA, in an apartment 4 minutes from South Mapleton. In Miami, in Two-Star Island." "Did you accompany Mr. Combs to paid club appearances?" "Oh, yes. He would ask for $150,000 and they'd have to sell things for him." "What did you do to stay awake?" "Prescription Adderall and sometimes cocaine." "And what was your job?" "To make sure Mr. Combs was always happy." Now, remember in the indictment, that's part of what they're saying the ultimate goal of this enterprise is for his gratification. They said actual gratification and to basically keep him happy. So that's where they going with this. All right. He'd say, "I don't take no for an answer. He told us to move like SEAL Team 6. Not for 100,000. I'm not moving like that. You might need to add another zero, bro." "Did Mr. Combs fire you?" He said, "Yes." "For forgetting his Lululemon fanny pack when he went on a walk?" He said, "I don't want to see your face anymore. Tell KK you are fired." This how he acted on TV, though. So I understand why people would be shocked, because this is exactly how he acted on TV. "You left my fanny tie. Don't you leave my fanny pack because it might cost you your job." You said a spoiled brat. First of all, you go from 5 assistants when he first got there down to 2. I want to hear from the people that left that said, "Hell no, we won't go." I forgot I'm at my daddy's house. I can't be cussing. I'm in Illinois right now. I'm in Chicago. I'm sitting up here. He got the big old Bible. Look, I just love. I got the big old Bible right here. Pull this over here. I forgot. My bad. Okay. Philly girl said, "Just stupid," sounded like a bratty kid. He's very strict. Very, very strict. All right. Let's move on. Let's move on. All right. So he got fired. All right. "What did you do?" "I bought a Lululemon fanny pack. Get it in, lay low." So you went and got him a fanny pack. I don't know if he actually bought it or brought it. I don't know. It says bought, but he got him his fanny pack and was like, "Let me just stay away from him. Maybe he forget he fired me. He just be going through stuff." If he did that, it's probably where he was told, maybe by KK or something. Like, he got mood swings. He very moody, and you don't know what's going on from 1 minute to the next. So he don't necessarily mean it. He don't mean it. You said it's Lululemon. I thought it was Lululemon. No, it's Lululemon. Well, you can tell, I don't buy none of it. Okay, Lululemon. Okay, sorry. My bad. Le Mans sounds more French, fancy. Okay, did you ever complain to HR? Brendan said, no, that wasn't a thing. Why not? HR even forgot to pull my federal taxes my first 8 months. You just go to Mr. Combs. Did Mr. Combs use drugs? Yes, ecstasy, cocaine, and more. So basically, I think what he's trying to say is that I think what they're establishing or trying to establish there, that yes, he does have businesses, but the structure of the businesses, so which a lot of businesses do, where you may be on the board and ultimately it's almost like a facade. You got people working for you and they're supposed to separately make determinations. You hire HR, they're supposed to make sure you're in compliance. There's no type of laws being broken, overtime, all of that. That's what you do. You hire, you fire, you put in the work, you do all of that. And basically, Diddy is the one that does that. Like, almost like they're just placeholders because you need that in a business. So we heard testimony from various people that nobody felt like they have to go to HR because it doesn't matter. Okay, like HR, what? Like, almost it's illusory. It's an illusory function to say there's an HR because they don't really be doing nothing like that. If you got a problem, you go to Diddy. Okay. What is in this photo? My hand with ecstasy and Tucci. Is that how you say it, y'all? Because I know you're going to correct me. Pink cocaine. And why did you take the photo? To ask staff what to do with it. After I found it, I was told to put it in his bag. So you took a picture of pink cocaine. He is definitely not a drug mule. They lied. He ain't no drug mule. He ain't. Like, you taking pictures of the crime, but y'all calling this man a drug mule? He's an assistant that was probably getting personals like everybody else. But anyway, so he took the picture. Then they asked him, did you buy marijuana for him? He said, yes. From whom? Philip Pines, Puff Like Sunset Sherbert. So apparently these must be the names, I guess, of Sunset Sherbert, like a strand. Who were the other drug dealers Mr. Combs used? So he didn't answer her question. He started naming the what kind. Who were the other drug dealers Mr. Combs used? One Stop, we heard about him. Guido, we heard about him. Baby Girl, we heard about her. And I think it's spelled OEI. Who's this? Guido. And they said he had a funny smile. He was on the picture like. They just put on there, he got a funny smile on his face. Is this your chat with Baby Girl? What is happening? Jonathan Perez is introducing me to Baby Girl. She asked me, is it for you or Puff? I replied, Puff, but tell everyone it's for me. So basically, we just say it's for Puff, but not really. Yeah, it's legal in Michigan too. So, yeah. Marijuana is legal as well for recreational purposes. But they would go and contact these people according to him, but because it was Puff and he's a celebrity, they didn't want nobody to know that that's what was happening. So they would have to say they were doing it for them whenever they went to maybe their connection. Tracy has given us the job description here. Sus said executive assistants primarily support executives with business related tasks and responsibilities, while personal assistants focus on managing an individual's personal life and errands. That is true. And this is why I have been confused because most of these personal assistants, they were, and your company will pay for you to have a personal assistant because your day-to-day life being managed affects your business. So they will pay you because if you're their personal assistant, you go to the studio with them, you go to the job when you're actually there when they're on the job. So I don't know, they're kind of crossing the line. I guess the government is saying no, you really wasn't no personal assistant like that. You were just, this enterprise through Bad Boy and all of them paid you to do racketeering activity, crimes, and that's really the real pretext of it all, is that to commit crimes. That's what they're getting at. But I do agree that personal assistants do what you ask them to do. Now, maybe some of these people were dropping off like flies, and he's had about 50,000 personal assistants, which to me, it seems like to make sure your business doesn't get out there, your best bet, honestly, is to be more consistent with your personal assistants and to gain a rapport with your personal assistants. But that's not what is happening here. He's going through these people like toilet paper, and you couldn't tell me to go, hey, I need you to call this person to get this pink powder. Now, that's the difference if you just don't know what you're picking up. But when they telling you what it is and you got to actually contact the neighborhood drug dealer from the crack house on the corner, that's a problem. Danny said, I don't like how the government is making it look like this man became a millionaire being a freak. That is my problem too. It's like, can we not give Diddy his props that he's and he actually did do what needed to be done in order to be a business mogul? And they have to, in order for this RICO to stick like that, they have to make it like, it's all like I said, a pretext. But this is a conspiracy. So you also have to have the agreement. That's why you hear with Christina Quorum knowing all of this information, knowing these crimes are allegedly being committed, and she's still working for him, knowing what it is. And she's supposed to be the cover up, the cleanup person, which is kind of what assistants do, not from a criminal standpoint, but Diddy say, call this person. Your job is to call them. They're saying when you were calling, call her and tell her to answer the phone. Call and see if she'll talk to you. This is your boss telling you that as the personal assistant. The government has basically said this is a crime partially because he was abusing her. He was trafficking her. He was doing all of this stuff. So you were a part of it. This is why they're saying she's a co-conspirator. Trey said, I was a secretary for executives. I ordered flowers for dates, picked up lunches, grocery shop, made reservations for dates, all on the company. Yes. Executive assistants, secretarial wise, when you're on the clock, they will ask you to do that type of stuff as well. I mean, that's not to the extent of what they're saying Diddy is doing. But what he had his personal assistants do, it's just that they're personal. They handle your personal business. Let me see. Let's go back. So then the government said, why? Why would he tell you, not let anyone know that it was him, but you got to say it's you? And Paul said, Puff is a high profile, so we use aliases. So then the government said, did Mr. Combs use Cialis? He said, yes, we put it in his nightstand. Government said, your message to Love red phone, what does it mean? So he called him Love, apparently. He said, I called Puff Love. So he must have came in the Love era. His red phone was personal. The business phone was yellow. And what did he text you? He said, Zans. How did you pay for drugs? Cash from the Gucci bag or security, usually Fahim. In the text, what is flowers? He said, marijuana. Did you also call it trees? Yes. Here, Fahim tells me I'll get back paid once Duke comes one shift. Or on shift, sorry. Government said, did Mr. Combs have you take drugs? He said, yes, to test his Tucci or Tusi or whatever it is, TUSI. The government said, did you want to take it? He said, I wanted to prove my loyalty. So everything about this, I'm sure he probably got a whole spiel about how he had so many assistants and they don't work out and he had to fire them because they were disloyal or they were out to get him. He's a celebrity and everybody wants to be in this space. So you're so lucky, my man's, to be in this space, and just kind of get them in that mindset of your job, honestly, it is to protect him and his reputation, which is in the indictment. But again, as you guys know, when you have personal assistants, that is part of it. I've seen lawsuits with like Kim Kardashian or different people of which their personal assistants, I think it was the wedding. It was like they had some people to take pictures. They were doing exclusive with people or something. Somebody took pictures after they signed the NDAs that they're not supposed to and gave some information, I guess, maybe about the wedding. I don't know if that was her assistant, but they actually sued them, and I think they won. So them NDAs is something that a lot of celebrities do, and because they do have to be concerned. If you're a Kim Kardashian or someone and you hire a house manager or a nanny, you don't want them going to the media talking about, ooh, Kim without makeup look a mess. Ooh, Kim really like so-and-so. Like you have to try to protect yourself. So in theory, all of these celebrities that have NDAs based on the government's analogies, because they're trying to protect their reputation, that can be considered a part of this, according to the government's indictment, that was part of their job, is to maintain his reputation. But honestly, most people are surrounding them, assistants and stuff, and lawyers. They get on PR teams. Their job is to protect your reputation. So that's why I said a lot of this stuff is just a very interesting concept on how they're coming together with the RICO. So yeah. No, I'm not retired, and I did have cases today, and I had them yesterday, and I do a lot of my stuff online since COVID. So I do most of my hearings and stuff on Zoom, and yeah, so I can work pretty much from anywhere. Hope that answers your question, James. Mo Walker said that's every personal assistant. Yes. That is true. NDAs work, but not in a criminal situation. But I don't understand why you said that. I don't get your point. That has nothing to do with our conversation. And Strand, I don't know nothing about juror number 6, so I can't answer your question. Okay. So he took it for loyalty. What were Wild King nights? Paul said, Mr. Combs and significant others, drugs, sex. The government said, did Jane participate in Wild King nights? He said, yes. Did Mr. Combs' other girlfriends participate in Wild King nights? He said, not that I'm aware of. So he only knew about Jane participating while he was the assistant. Who called them Wild King Nights? He said, KK. I just say he's going to a hotel. KK called it that, but I said, shoot, oh, he going to the hotel? All right, let me make sure he booked in and got his stuff set up. Did Mr. Combs stop using hotels and move them to the residences? He said, yes, after the Cassie case. What did you do? Clean up after. What does this say? That Jane is coming, Brendan is setting it up, Wild King Nights probable. Where did you make the reservation? Nobu. You know, Jane didn't like Nobu. She said she was tired of Nobu. That's what she said. She was tired of Nobu. She wanted to go to other spots. Saw 44 said the RICO prosecution, white girls gone wild addiction with watching a black man's ding dong. Okay. 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 This is why you saying the stuff you say. I wasn't paying you any attention, but I was kind of getting where you was going. Okay. All right. James believes he's cooked, okay, based on this testimony. That's what he believes. Robert said, plus sitting there talking about, I know this is my issue. So you'll see when Brendan Paul, that's why calling him a drug mule. This is what I'm talking about organized ignorance with social media. This man was not a drug. When he got caught with a personal. When he got arrested, he was offered a diversion program. People was talking about he working for the government, he snitching. He was offered a diversion program. What is the diversion program? When you get caught with, like, there's different programs in different courts. We have them in Michigan, of which you complete certain programs and they'll dismiss your case like it never happened. So what they do is they'll hold it in abeyance. They'll come in. They'll say, okay, he got entered into a diversion program, probably some type of rehab or whatever. And then once he's completed, he'll go back after whatever amount of time. And if he's completed it successfully, they dismiss it like it never happened. In the media, we thought he got caught with some kilos or some bricks or something. But it wasn't even, that's not what he got caught with. So that was a case. I think he was still in the state, so I assume it was a state case. They do have diversion programs in federal cases. I know it was pilot. It was a pilot program maybe 4 years ago in Michigan and federal, but I'm not sure like if it was implemented or if it's still going. But for the most part, he's not a drug mule. He was an assistant, and it looks like he was doing the same thing that everybody else was doing. He was getting it from Guido and them too. How he the drug mule and he was getting it from Guido and baby girl? Somebody said the feds used him as a plant. They could have. They could have. I wouldn't doubt it. I wouldn't doubt it. Okay, let's move on. See, we moving pretty good. We chugging along here. The government said, where was this Wild King Nights? Paul said, Jane's resident. I wrote running to Walmart for them. The government said, KK asked, Wild King mode active or Gucci bag active? What did you say? Between the two. How did you know what to buy for Mr. Combs' Wild King Nights? Brendan said, we had a shared document in the notes app. Who was responsible for Astroglide? The property manager. I didn't think the 200 South Mapleton manager was good. So, photo. I don't even get that sentence. Okay. Brendan Paul said, I took the photo to show the manager how to lay out the Astroglide in her bedroom. So that explains it. So he took the photo so he could tell the manager this how he liked the Astroglide laid out. This is his preference. He wants it, the Astroglide, leaning a little bit to the right in a diagonal fashion. I'm making that part up. I don't even understand how special you would lay something out, but hey. You said this is not a real case. You said 0.7 grams. Did they go after the drug dealer? That's a great question because they've named some people that they get the drugs from. Power dynamics, but I don't know. I don't know. So then he says, the government says, how'd you put in for the cash? He said, Robin at TriStar. Did Mr. Combs contact you from Wild King Nights? Yes, by voice notes or FaceTime. He called me to go get an X outfit, but he never called me back. How did you clean up after? He said, I wore gloves. Shoot, that nasty. He was in there like with gloves. I went in there like this. I was going in for surgery. He said, well, why? The government asked why. He said, sanitary reasons. Nasty. Do you know what was going on in the motel? Don't you got all this information? Didn't you watch the videotapes? Is this a photo of the day of your arrest? He said, yes. March 25th, 2024, a rented jet. The government says, the cocaine you were arrested with, was it Mr. Combs? Objection, Judge Sister Stain. Was it yours? No. Was it Mr. Combs? Objection, overruled. So now he gets the answer because it's overruled. Paul says, it was Mr. Combs. It was that dude over there that keep wearing that orange sweater. It was him. What did you do after the arrest? He said a diversion program, drug treatment. No further question. So he got a diversion. I got those all the time when I was doing criminal law. You try to protect and preserve, because what happens, what I've learned when I was a defense attorney primarily, what I learned was that people are more concerned with not going to jail. So that's all they cared about was, I don't want to go to jail. I watch A&E. I watch Locked Up, and I don't want to go to jail. That was it. Anything you can give me probation, but probation will, and I'll explain to them, probation will catch you up. It's a lot of people get violations because of it's stringent, and I think oftentimes it's made in a way almost to catch you up. Okay. And they got tabs on everything you do. Now, sometimes you might get a cool probation officer that know that you ain't really like that. And so they may give you a little bit more leniency. Just call. You don't even have to come for your last 6 months. Pay your money. I'm going to let you off. You know, they might do that type of stuff. But yeah. So what I would do is, you have different statutes. Sometimes you may have to try to craft it, but I would try to make it where they would get a second chance, where they don't have to wait the 5 years to try to get it expunged, depending on what it was. That if they went and got anger management, if that's what's needed, if they went and got drug treatment, if that's what was needed, if they pay back the money that they stole, if that was needed. I've done diversion programs for a lot of those scenarios. And what happens is, once you complete it, how ours is, then it just gets dismissed like it never happened. So I was one that cared about your future and you not having a conviction on your record. They cared about not doing a day in jail. They cared about honey buns. Okay. They did not care about how it would affect them later. I mean, I've had people that were convicted of stuff and they were like, later they thought about how it obviously affected them, but that was what my task always was. So those diversion programs are, if you qualify, or if someone is in some type of trouble and they have diversion programs, have them ask their, about the diversion programs that might be in that area. But this is not legal advice. I don't know any of you guys, and none of you guys have retained me, but I'm just giving a little nugget there. Tracy said, do you think Diddy using the company car for everything helped the government make a RICO conspiracy? I think that's what they're using it for. I need to hear closing arguments because I see where they're going with it. Now, whether the government's picking up what whether the jury is picking up what they're putting down, I don't know that. I'm not in the courtroom. But I see where they're going with it. I can see why they would try to say that it's an enterprise and that it's a RICO. I could see that. But I guess from my legal background, I know that this is not a common thing. Like there's not going to be a lot of case law they can glean on that replicates this case, if it makes sense. Now, again, at one point, every case was the first case. But I think that there's not too many cases that replicate it. So I'm still, in the middle on it. I can see it on both ends, honestly. I can see where perhaps Diddy may walk on those couple of charges, and I can see where the government could get them to believe that they actually have proven a RICO conspiracy. So thank you so much, Power Dynamic for Life. I appreciate that. Thank you, Tracy, again for the cats, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Always supporting you, girl. Okay, so Brian still did the cross. I was wondering. So he was all methodical. You walked up to play basketball at Syracuse for an iconic coach? He said yes. You played UNC, but COVID ended it. Yes. You weren't just a drug mule, were you? Objection, overruled. He said, I was not just that. It was a minor part of what you did. Absolutely. Still said personal use. Judge said rephrase. Still said the hotel nights were personal. The government said objection. Judge said rephrase. Still said it was Combs and Jane. Relaxation, personal, right? From your observation? He said yes. Did you see Jane as hesitant? He said, I did not. Still said, if you saw non-consensual activity, you would not have worked there, right? Objection sustained. Still said, you would not work for a criminal, would you? Brendan said, no. Still said, you care about your reputation. He said, yes. You were arrested for 27 grams, barely personal use. It was a mistake, right? He said, yes. And the case was dismissed. He said, yes. Did drugs make Sean more focused? He said, he got extremely creative. And honestly, y'all, if you go into some of these studios, bring an oxygen mask because a lot of people are in there smoking, they drinking, they dancing, and they're in there all night. The studio is almost like a makeshift club, even though they do obviously make music, but it's a creative space for a lot of people where they smoke marijuana. A lot of creatives, they just have a lot of things going in their mind at the same time. And if you talk to any creatives, a lot of them just have a lot going on. Like you had, I think Chrisette Michelle came out and said she just found out she had autism and she has severe autism. I didn't look to see what it, look into it, but you have a lot of creatives that have a lot of things that are going on, mentally. And so I think that smoking weed keeps a lot of them focused, is what I've been told. But yeah. Yes, please hit the like button, y'all. Thank you so much for the 600 in here. I appreciate it. You guys are the best. You guys are the best. Even though I just jumped on and started talking. Okay. Did drugs make Sean focus? He said, yeah. So then still said, as you sit here today, are you indebted to Sean Combs? Paul said, good experience for the most part. He said, it was a good experience until I found myself in cell block 8. It was very good until they came up and they said, we're searching bags. This belongs to you, sir? Come with me. Come with me. What is this? You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. You have the right to retain an attorney. If you cannot afford one, one will be provided for you. and he was locked up at cell block 8, call and collect. So I'm sure he had a good time until he was till he was arrested. Thank you so much, Child Young Cat, for gifting a membership. I appreciate it. Okay, let's go. So then there was a sidebar. So then they're back. The government says, so I guess this is redirect. Did you know what was happening in the Wild King Nights? Objection, the judge said. Rephrase. Were you there? Brendan said no. What did you think the $5,000 was for? Objection, the judge sustained it. Did you give Mr. Combs $5,000 cash in another context? He said no. You said you wouldn't work for a criminal, but you bought drugs for Mr. Combs. Yes, more than 5 times, less than 10. I guess he said, I don't think he a criminal. I think he a drug addict. How did you feel about Mr. Combs? He said, it's complicated. I mean, how can you feel about somebody that put you in a predicament of which you caught a case and you were like a basketball star, or I don't know if he was a star, but you were at a NCAA school to play basketball. You become his assistant to make you a couple of dollars, and now you find yourself on the other side of a V being a defendant, case number 223-00152 or whatever it was. Yeah, I could see it being very complicated. Like, cut it out. So then they say no further question. Still like no recross. I did what I needed to do. So based on that, do y'all think, because somebody was in the chat and they felt like he did it, and we don't got all the information. Maybe it was more information that was out there. Some people feel like he's the one that sealed the deal for him. That's what some people believe, and you're going to see a lot of headlines on it. So Child Cat, thank you for the super chat. He said, I appreciate you taking the time to read this out to us and for your insight. Thank you. Thank you so much for the support. Everyone says the same thing about Puff. He's really Jekyll and Hyde. That's from Love Me the You say Road Dog says still it's funny. Y'all not telling me what you think though. Y'all always ask me what I think. I think that I want to hear all the evidence. That's what I think. Everybody on here, it's been proved. It can be proven in your mind, but in order for you to say it's proven, I mean that you believe that every juror believes every single thing and every single witness basically, well, not every, but the majority of the information given by the government, they believe it. That's what you have to assess in order to say they basically proven it. Because it's about credibility. If they don't believe these people on this stand and what they're saying, or they really do believe it was consensual and he's an addict, so all the drugs was personal, and he has personal assistance, then perhaps they may not be thinking what y'all thinking. So I just want to know what y'all thinking. Brendan's parents probably said, you better tell. Educator said it's too much reasonable doubt. You said is the RICO charge drug distribution or possession? So what it is they have distribution as one of the predicate acts under the RICO. So RICO itself has 5 elements. However, conspiracy to commit RICO, I think is three elements or 4, because it's an agreement. But the premise when you conspire, it doesn't even have to necessarily occur. Is you made an agreement, you may not even complete it, especially if you don't turn away from it and denounce it. But you have to, the reason why they have to show the enterprise exists and all of that, because the enterprise don't exist, and how you even gonna say even a conspiracy RICO or racketeering? So to answer your question, it's one of the predicate acts of one of the crimes that they're saying was committed in the enterprise. The purpose of the enterprise is to please Diddy And he was able to basically use Bad Boy and all these companies in order to act out the purposes of the enterprise. So that's really what it is in a nutshell. That's what they're saying as far as the actual RICO portion. Conspiracy is just an agreement to commit the RICO. That's why I said I know it's very, very complicated. And I know there's fighting over court rules when it pertains to the RICO. The RICO conspiracy is 5 years, according to the defense. I didn't really double check it or not what the statute is. Apparently, it's 5 years, according to them. So you have to show that the RICO continue, because before that you had Cassie. She was before 2019. So they really have to show this RICO conspiracy happened and continue from 2019 and forward. It's not even, they can say it started way back in 2004 and they're showing all of this, but you have to show. So Jane Doe would have been somewhat important for the trafficking because she was obviously after 2019. So it shows the continuance of it. So it may have originated in 04, like they're saying with Capricorn, with the whole blowing up of the car and all of that. But because of the statute of limitation, they need to show that it continued past 2019. Whatever they're alleging happened before 2019, which is a part of the enterprise and conspiracy, it actually happened after 2019 as well, is what they are alleging. So they're asking for a jury instruction to explain that. I mean, I thought he was a straight up dealer. They all were drug mules then, all of the assistants. SJ said his reputation will be forever tarnished. I think that's 10 times. Yeah, because his career is contingent on his reputation. Why? Because he gets brand deals. He gets Who wants to be affiliated with them? Who is going to really come out publicly, aside from a Kanye, to say, me and Diddy got something cooking in the studio? Who's going to really say that? He actually started the Love Records and he signed someone onto that record deal. And she had written a lot of stuff for people prior to, but I guess this was going to be her time to shine. And she sat down with Diddy and was like, I need to get out of my contract when all of this stuff happened. And Diddy like, oh, so you going to walk away from me when things get a little hot, when it get rough? And she basically was like, listen, bro, if it were me and all of this scandal was out here like that on me, would you keep me on your label? And he was like, you got a point. I would drop you like a bad habit. Let me let you up out this contract. Ask grandma. Or do it yourself. I'm gonna lie. Ask grandma. Go upstairs and ask grandma. Hold on, y'all. My daughter said I do everything for her. So she don't care that I got help here. Hold on 1 second, y'all. Thank you so much for allowing me this interlude. So, yes, please hit the like button. Danny says, so does the government want us to believe that people of his status should be booking hotels under their own name and people get flued out and get high all the time? Is it federal because he's rich? That's what the government wants you to, that's kind of gist of the case, right? Ooh, Miss Ty 28 said, I think Kanye's wife is a plant. He's probably going to be next. Ooh, allegedly. We don't know Kanye. We're not saying that over here. She sure did. She said, you do everything for me. I'm not asking nobody else. What are you talking about? She won. She won, Miss T. Taught her well. She had a great argument, and so I lost. I conceded. You said she's his power of attorney. Okay, let me see here. So y'all not really telling me what y'all think. So the next witness sounds like they got exhibits. First they read exhibits and reading text between Combs and KK for April 25th, 2023. Combs said, I can't take it no more. Album not done. KK said, you can have release after the studio. We control our energy. Combs said, whatever, get me Frank. So maybe what that mean? Maybe he wants certain drugs to get him into a whole be a different person or something. So that must have been the Love album. He was stressing. The government said, play the audio message by Mr. Combs. So it got Combs' voice. Have Jonathan do it. The government said, Miss Korn replies, John will go to the hotel. The government said, we have a bit more than we request a break. So the judge said, okay. So then there was a message shown on the screen involving Veronica Bangs, then taken down. The government said, Miss Ventura says, you bashed my head in. This is what they're reading. So Cassie says, you bashed my head in. Combs says, you're crazy. Stop talking, flipping on me for what? We're taking a break. Cassie said, I don't want to be beaten down for standing up or ever. Combs said, I'll try to figure out how to get this nut out. Oh. So then the government still reading. There's no witness on the stand. Miss Ventura says, all I wanted was to have a good time, and you took all your anger out on me as per usual. You dragged me down the hall by my hair. This is not play fighting anymore. I was serious about Rita coming over. So the government says, Boris had to tackle you. Puff, that's not love. That's possession. I have bleeding cuts. From Combs to Miss Ventura, I'm not going to let someone ish on me when all I've done is be nice. You don't treat me like the king. You was acting like a bitch. That was from Combs to Miss Ventura. Said, I'm not going to let someone ish on me while all I do is I'm not. You don't treat me like the king that I am. People just throw around this king word a lot. My king, that is definitely a peasant that you talking about is your king. Anyway, I digress. The government says is still reading from Miss Ventura to Mr. Combs. Talk to your people and they'll tell you, or they won't, since all they do is that supposed to be suck you? I asked to have my record come out after 1,000,000 times. So then the government says, I would like to read other portions of those exhibits. So then the government said, may I confer with Miss Garagos? The judge said, of course. We need a break. Okay. So then Combs Garagos says, we want to read on the next page. Like, y'all not just going to read what you want to read. We got stuff we want. Hold on. We want to read too. He did. He said a king. People just say any old thing. Everybody kings, everybody Proverbs 31 women. Like, stop just labeling yourself with these false illusions. Like, some of these people are delusional. No, you the woman on the rooftop where the man don't want to come home. That's what you are. And you not a king. Actually, he a punk. But that's for another day. Beating on women. That's not what's up. Okay. So then Combs Garrigo said, we want to read in the next page. Miss Ventura saying, I love our FOs when we both want them. The judge said they are in evidence, but for some reason, we are just reading these to the jury. There was no objection by the defense. Right. I'm like, why is she just reading these text messages? The judge is like baffled. Why? They already in evidence. Why are they reading them? The judge is sitting there confused. And why didn't the defense object to them reading them and just reading them to the jury? So then Garrigo says this leaves a prejudicial impression with the jury. The judge said, what's your basis for what you want to do? Garrigo said, we didn't know they were only going to read portions. The judge said, you just want to read 4 messages? Garrigo said, yes. The judge said, I think it's fair for the defense to read the 4 messages. The government said, I didn't intend to be misleading. So if your court is saying these 4 should be read, I should be the one to read them. So now they don't want the defense getting up because you know what it does? It makes the jury be like, well, why you ain't read them messages? But you read those messages. So you trying to hide the ball. So the government is very, very slick on how they're doing this, though, because now they're like, well, I'll just read them myself. I'd rather read them myself than to have them read it, because then it'll make it look like I'm not trying to hide the ball. But when you have the defense getting up like, let me read these parts that you ain't read, then it makes it look like you're trying to keep stuff out. Then you get up like, who, me? I wasn't trying to be misleading in any way. I'll just read all of them, Judge, if they have to be read. Yeah, they were very toxic together. Mo Walker, they were definitely toxic. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go on. Let's go on. Thank you all for all of the people coming in. Make sure you hit that like button. Thank you for the 700 up in here. Okay, so they take a break. Then the jury re-enters. The government said, let me read again. I had read the wrong version. Look how they cleaning it up. Look how they cleaning it up. Let me read it again. I had read the wrong version. Miss Ventura to Mr. Combs, you want to party and have a good time? I have to focus or I'm ever become anything. So this Miss Ventura, you treat me like a hooker for 10 years. I love our FOs when we both want it. So that was the completion. So then the government calls Joseph Carciello of Homeland Security investigation for 18 years. So they were trying to read bits and pieces of it. And then they come back and say, I got the wrong version. My bad. I got the wrong version. Let me go pull this back out for the jury. No, yes, Road Dog, they got the wrong version. Okay. The government calls Joseph, who is the Homeland Security, for 18 years. How many records have you reviewed for the charge in this case? So now it's more records and charts. Thousands. What is the only female name in this chart, Jane? So then they turn off the public screens. They got all the exhibits. And you know, inner city press is mad that they actually filed a motion, I think yesterday, a letter motion, and got an attorney that's representing a lot of the news outlets as to why these exhibits are not available to the public. Because once they're entered into evidence, they should be available to the public, unless they're under seal, of course. So then he says, what's the name of the hotel? And this agent says 1 Hotel South Beach, Field Pines, and then they got different dates, $3,050.90 for one night. $3,000. What? I guess he said it's nothing to a boss. And this flight, he said, Jane by JetBlue from New York to Miami. Not you putting her on JetBlue. With the public screens, I'll play the Instagram video. So it's an Instagram video. Does the metadata match up? He says yes. What's the name? Jessica Ruiz, Mr. Combs' travel agent. What was the charges for losses and damages? $6,000. Who flew on this one? Jane and Cabral. Jane from LA to Miami to LA. And Cabral, Atlanta. So they're just throwing up different. So they made this Jane message, I guess, available. So he said, while they going back and forth, here go one of the belated messages that I've been beating the table to get. It said, you want to get a party going before you spend the weekend with the boring chick? Oh, okay. That's from Jane. Do you want to get a party going before you spend the weekend with a boring chick? I told y'all in the beginning, I said, for some reason, I'm thinking clearly Cassie got I think personally, obviously she was the victim of domestic violence. I also think that he did try to mold her, like somebody said on the stand. Can't remember who it was, but I think he did do that. And I think that she was so young and impressionable, she wanted to do whatever for her man, right? And she was with him for 11 years. Jane, I think Jane got in there with an agenda. She was about herself, and she thought she had something that other women did not, which was these hotel nights. And so she would use that, in my opinion, in order to keep him interested, because you were a person that people knew already in the industry that for different things. So yeah, yes, it was JetBlue. You said $1 billion over 39 years, average out to 91,000 a day. 3K is chump change. You said he paid more than that in tips, huh? Esther said he didn't start Bad Boy to hide his crimes. I'm not saying he's a hero, but come on. I feel like there's missed opportunity to create doubt. Yeah. Well, the defense has not put their case on yet. They said 2 to 5 days. So they got people they're going to talk about. And the first one is HR over there at Bad Boys, who was HR. And she's probably going to show her records and put her information on and have her documentations that this was legit and she ran it legitimately and she was separate and apart from Diddy. And she made decisions probably of which Diddy didn't know about. So Andre said this was a weak witness. I don't know, Andre. Some people saying, from what I read, I don't see the bombshell, but apparently there are people that are saying that are in the courtroom. So maybe, and these are people that generally are somewhat neutral. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Because, again, we don't get all the information. That's the downside of only having someone's tweets. So it's what they feel is important and what they can get out. You said, I feel like Jane was a pro. Listen, how's she going to say you want to get a party going before you spend the weekend with a boring chick? This was March 7, 2024 when it was read. So then the government says, so what is this? He says, hotel damage report at London Hotel. So he going over all these documents and receipts, it looks like. For room 229, the report says bodily fluid spread on the floor, pictures attached as evidence. And then the name columns has Jane, Combs, Reggie, Paul, and Cabral. So that was one of the, looks like one of the nights of which there were multiple people. Okay, then they say, the government said, and these between Paul, Arthur, and Combs, then Jane. So this witness says Arthur Fitness LLC, an ATM cash deposit of $900, then $600. And this, more hotel damages. And this, Fahim's cell phone was seized. Yes. So they done took Fahim's cell phone. So then Garrigo said, Your Honor, take that down. Public couldn't see it anyway. Can we please have a sidebar? Judge took it down and said yes. So during the sidebar, Inner City Press put up some more text. Here's another Jane message the prosecutors belatedly made available today. It says, I'm crying. I'm so triggered by this because it's too close to some nights I felt forced. Please stop drugging and using women for your fetish nights. It creates demons inside of us and real trauma to women who are only doing it to please you. Let that pain on other women stop with me. Leave women alone who don't want to do those nights with you. Hire prostitutes and stop emotionally harming women that love you. Now, this was December 7th, 2023. So as you guys know, this was after the Cassie lawsuit. I wouldn't even pay this whole text no attention because of it. Just me if I was a juror. But this was the text after Cassie's lawsuit was filed November 16, 2023. And so this was the text that was sent. Still during the sidebar, there's another message the prosecutors made available today, citing Gina in Miami. And this was from October 17th of 2023. So this would have been a month before the lawsuit. That we know Diddy knew about it, and I wonder if he talked to Jane about it. Because remember, there was talks about the book and getting basically a demand letter will let you know, hey, we're going to give you first exclusive rights to this book. But if you don't just pay the money for the book, then we're going to file a lawsuit instead. And you got a certain amount of time to pay this $30 million. Now, some people don't like the way that went down and thought it was kind of messed up. But I don't believe that he didn't tell Jane about it. Because if she said that he told her Cassie was a fighter and all of that stuff, because he never put his hands on her until that incident where she slammed his head into the counter and started one. But I think he probably told her before that. But anyway, so then he said, "Ooh, ooh." So I gotta whisper, my daddy's in there when I read it. Okay, he said, "You want to have me suck some beep so you can jet off to an island with Gina or Young." That's what it says. Trying to see that. And then it says, and have me do the dirty ish in the hotel room. After hotel room. Can y'all hear me? Whew. I heard his voice and felt like I was 5. I can't say that bad word. What? So they say they back, but due to stop in 3 minutes. So then they say, did Jonathan Perez send this to Fahim? They say yes. The government says, and this is about Anton or Antoine. Is it sorted by date? Please sort it, Miss Becker. And as they near the end of the day, prosecutors just belatedly made available exhibits, including this from Combs. It says, I'm not even horny no more. Dad, I need you to get out the kitchen so I could talk. You know what I'm saying? Some of this stuff is not, it's kind of nasty. I need you to get up out that kitchen, Dad. He ain't moved at all. What? Okay. Did I read this one? He says, I'm not even horny no more. Okay. Oh, he got not. I'm not even horny no more. Okay. Who sends this message? They said KK. What does Jonathan write to Fahim? He says, I don't know if you're holding $10,000. Fa said, trying to get some more now. And this June 20th, 2024, 1 year ago today. That was 59 seconds ago, so I don't know if we got it. Saying said the government says, Your Honor, I think this is a good stopping place since we're ending earlier today. The jurors, you may leave. Don't read anything or rise. The judge said, How many more on direct, Miss Comey? Miss Comey, didn't you say you was going to be done? Comey said, To midday on Monday, I hope Ms. Garagos can finish cross by the end of Monday. So they're not going to put on their case, I guess, till Tuesday now. The judge says, Then Rule 29, Mr. Agnifilo will be on the shorter side. We'll tell the government over the weekend. If the government rests at the end of Monday, I think we'll rest Tuesday or Wednesday. Oh, so now his case getting shorter and shorter too. He said he went from 1 week, then he went to 2 weeks. Now he's saying if they rest on Monday, they're going to rest on Tuesday or Wednesday. So do y'all got, I guess if it's 2 full days. Hold on. See if I can put. Hold on 1 second. I'm technically working too. Yeah, I got it. Let me see. Listen. Oh, so for those of you, I'm assuming you probably don't know maybe what a Rule 29 is, but a Rule 29 is like a judgment of acquittal. So the defense is going to get basically a motion for a directed verdict is what we say, like in state court. So the defense is going to come up and basically say you ain't proved what you're supposed to prove on any of these counts, and it's not sufficient to sustain a conviction. And then the government's going to get up and they're going to show certain evidence, and then the judge is going to probably deny it. That's all. So they're challenging the sufficiency of the evidence is what they're going to do with the Rule 29. And if they talk about it over the weekend, they're probably going to actually write it out and everything because, yeah. That's it. That's the rule. That's the Rule 29. And you do it, of course, after the prosecution has already finished their case. You don't do it till after they rest. You say, Your Honor, we'd like to do a Rule 29, do a motion for acquittal. Based on the evidence, they have not proved this RICO conspiracy. They have not proven ex-trafficking, and they have not proven prostitution. And the government going to come back and they're going to say how they proved it. And that is a question of fact for a jury. And then the government's going to say, deny. Who's your next witness? Who's your next witness? But yeah. Oh yeah, listen. I feel like mine will still beat me down, okay, to this day. My parents. Okay, let's go on. So it looks like it's the end of the day. So they're saying I'll send the proposed charge today. You send edits Tuesday evening. We could do the charge conference on Wednesday and closing Thursday. So they think they about to close on Thursday, y'all. It's over. I don't think Diddy testifying based on this. I think he's not testifying. You can use the courtroom until 2:30, Mr. Donaldson, if needed. Put in a written application. So they're gonna let him be on. Wait a minute, y'all. Why my mama just? Why she just come in here with the church finger? She just walked in. She was like, oh God, I can't. I had to get off here. These people are goofy. All right. So it's adjourned, and that is the end of the day. Guys, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm hungry. I got food out there waiting on me. And I can't say and talk how I want to talk when I'm up in this piece because I feel like, I'm gonna be on punishment or something. So hope you guys enjoyed the live. Again, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe. Mel said, have dad come say a prayer and cleanse the chat of this debauchery. Dad. Val said you need to come here and say a prayer and cleanse the chat of all this debauchery. Jujon said, I read that the common goal in racketeering needs to be either financial or illicit. We know there is no financial gain, so what would be the illicit activity as the common goal in the case? So you're probably reading the RICO statute sub A. And I believe this is a C. I think it's racketeering sub C. So go look that up, Judan. Like look up the racketeering statute and then look at sub C and then they do it under conspiracy. So you have a good day too. You said, can we get a closing prayer after all of this? I don't even know. But yeah, I was thinking the same thing before I went back. I was like, there's no profit in this. He's paying people. He's not getting profit. So that was one of the things under that. But when you do conspiracy, then I think it's different. And illicit activity, I mean, they can say the trafficking. I don't know, but we'll see. This coming to a close, guys. Next week we'll be done talking about Diddy. We'll probably be talking about somebody else. Because it seems like they're trying to, every time you turn around, somebody getting sued. If you guys saw Fat Joe, I thought that was old news though, but maybe not. Because I know Fat Joe has sued Blackburn and his former hype man or whoever he was for defamation. I read that. And they actually had attached some information about Blackburn. Like allegedly he had a fiance and the fiance's friend was saying that Blackburn had threatened her or did something and she tried to get a PP. It was some crazy stuff in there, but it looks like it got dropped. And she tried to sue him federally and that didn't go anywhere. But the police report, of course, when you start digging and you got attorneys, they found some stuff. So what happened is all of this started online. So after it was online for a minute about him allegedly messing with minors, talking about Fat Joe, and this guy just kept posting, like people was in the chat, they were mad, like find something else to do, Fat Joe. Like why don't you just hush? Like, I mean, not Fat Joe, the hype man, whatever his name is. Like you're kind of annoying right now because apparently he's saying Fat Joe owe him money. So he started going in kind of like a little ride situation. So he started going in and then Fat Joe sued him. So sued him and sued Blackburn for defamation because of what was being posted. So apparently now they've obviously filed a lawsuit. It's 100 and something pages, so I have not read it yet. But Tracy, if you don't hear, send it to me, girl. I'll read it, but I'll just ain't about to download those pages. A lot of people have talked about the lawsuit anyway, so I would have to condense it to what's important because 144 pages. I'll be on here for 3 hours with 35 pages, okay, with the Tyler Perry. So we got Tyler Perry got his issues, so we'll be following that because I'm sure he's going to respond. We have, we still waiting on the judge on TD Jakes. What else we got? Y'all refresh. Oh, Ernest Williams. Can't forget about Ernie. Can't forget about Ernie, We got him.
And another thing you notice, the first thing they say, make sure you guys hit that like and subscribe button. That's what it's all about. After they get them dogging you out, before they dog you out, that's the first thing they say. If you like this video, make sure you hit.
You have 1 minute remaining.
Thank you, Tracy. All right, y'all. I'm going to let you guys go. I said I wasn't going to be on that long. It's only been an hour and 20 minutes. I'm saying that to my family because I said I'm not going to be on that long. They was like, yeah, whatever. Fooled you guys. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'm going to holler at you guys later. Oh, make sure you guys send any cases, anything you want me to go over, so that I can review it and all of that, because next week it's a kind of busy week for me. So yeah, talk to y'all later.